Hi everybody, this is Null Inquisitor doing another GURPS video. Hi, today I'm going to create a spell for my NRN game using GURPS Magic, some common sense, and what you see just above here, spell template. It's basically a template you can find in the GURPS Magic book. It's just a way of writing spells. So first, when you create a spell, you start with the idea, and then you go into the book if you want to use that format, because every power in GURPS can use the GURPS basic set. You can use advantages to create a power, or you can use GURPS power to make it even more like a superpower. But if you want to make it as a spell using this magic system, your power will end up being a skill. So you need to balance it properly. It's not very hard. And in the end, when your character will cast that special spell you will create, you will roll 3d6 equal or under your skill will be a success. It will use the same mechanic as I talked in another video about magic in GURPS. So the spell, let's start with my idea. My setting, Anaren, is called also the Stone Kingdom. Anaren is Anno and Ren, two words in the local language stuck together, which mean Stone Kingdom. So everything stone, desert, earth is really important in my setting. So the first step is the idea. So my idea for this new spell will be, I wanted to call it Stone Singing or Stone Scream. The idea being the spellcaster will kneel on the ground and concentrate, placing his hand on the ground. And he will concentrate and drive his magic through his arm into the ground. And suddenly, in a large area, the earth will scream, and it will create an explosion of coming from below, and throw tiny little shrapnels of earth and stone in an area that is, of course, like stretchable, or you can adjust according to the system. It all depends on how much energy you put into that spell. So it will be an area effect spell. It will be you have different categories of spell in GURPS Magic, like I said in my video covering GURPS Magic. So there is a category of spells that are area spells. So I'm going to use this template for this new spell. So the spell will be called Stone Scream, because it's more dramatic than singing, and or stone shatter, maybe shattering, stone shattering. How about that? Let's stuck with scream, and I could change it later. So the first step is done. I have my idea in my head. It's like an explosion of an area effect. So now I went into GURPS Magic, into the section Earth Spells, since it's a stone spell, and I browsed through the various spells. Of course, if I uncovered that the spell already exists, I could have just stopped there and just renamed the spell to my liking. So there is one spell that is pretty close to what I want, but not totally on point. It's called Rain of Stones. It's an area spell also, and the effect that it creates a rain of small stone that is falling onto your enemy for 1 minute, causing one die -1 crushing damage every second. If a person have a shield with a defense bonus of 2 or higher, they can block and shield themselves from the rain. The prerequisite of the spell is Magery 2, so it's not a beginning spellcaster who can do this, or a slightly talented spellcaster. It takes a talented, a really confirmed spellcaster. And another prerequisite is create earth. So the mage in this situation, the mage really create in the air earth or stone that falls into the enemy, and it's not the spell that I want. I could take this as it is, change the prerequisite for something else, and be done with it. But I don't like the fact that it lasts 1 minute also. So I'm gonna browse through the book and search for something more attuned to my idea. I did this homework earlier, just before shooting the video, and I found that the closest idea to my idea was the spell like a fireball. Like you create a zone of explosion, and it lasts like an instant, and boom. So I went to the fire spells section, and there is also a rain of fire spell, also lasting 1 minute. Not exactly what I want. So the spell that inspired me the most, that is almost what I want, is a spell called Fire Cloud. You create this cloud of fire in an area. It lasts 10 seconds, and it creates this 1 point of damage per second for every point of magic or energy or fatigue point you put into the spell, and it lasts like 10 seconds. So based on these two spells, Rain of Stone and Fire Cloud, give me a pretty good idea now how to balance my spell. So I will need to create myself my own parameter for the spell, but I have a good range of different how much such a spell could cost, and it gives me an idea, a play field. I will not make this spell like a 10 die flaming crushing damage of doom with no resistance, and so no, that would not be balanced and not fair to to any PCs I would throw that to. So as you can see, I have here my I just made a template, so I'm gonna copy it, copy and paste, and I'm gonna rename the spell, new spell, Stone Scream. This will be an area effect spell. Area spell basically are spells that you do onto an area. Of course, you have a small diagram. You have 1x, and for each x extra in the spell you want to create, of course the spell will be larger, but it also costs you more energy to do. So basically a mage, I'm gonna show it to you. Yeah, you can see here the little graph. So for 1 point or one portion of what the spell asks of you to cast, it will create a 1x area of effect, and for each multiple of that cost, you create another ring around it. So for 6 times the amount of energy that the spell asks you, you create this giant zone of 6 by 6 yard, and everything in it, boom. But it costs a lot of energy point to do that. So a mage could possibly neutralize a group of enemy, but then will fall unconscious after the spell. Unless, of course, he's a very experimented or experienced, and he have this massive pool of point of energy. So I'm gonna base my spell off the rain of stone and the fire cloud spell. So so I'm gonna start to just fill my template and see how it goes. So the spell will allows the user to create an explosive area that comes from the ground and throw thousands of tiny stone shrapnels at the enemies. Let's say target to be more generic. Shrapnels. Shrapnel. Okay. So the duration of the spell will be instantaneous. So it's going to be one boom, then it's gone. That's what I want. I want an explosion. I don't want it to last forever. The base cost to cast will be. Now I'm gonna check both spells to have a fair idea. So the Rain of Stone costs 1 point to cast. 1 point to cast, minimum 2. Okay, so 1 or 2. And the Fire Cloud is 1 to 5. And it directly influences the type, the amount of energy you or damage you do in a round. In a second. So I'm going to balance it to 1 to 5 points. And the explosion, no, I'm gonna 1 to 3. The reason I'm doing this is most missile spell or blast have a maximum of 3 dice of damage. So I don't want my spell to be more powerful than a blast, but I want it to be as much as powerful. So I'm gonna allow like for 3 dice of damage, but I will raise the prerequisite a little bit, so this spell will now be harder a little bit to obtain. Of course, I could say in my setting that only a few mage have this spell, and a character could very well need to learn that spell from somebody who knows it. Yeah. So the explosion does 1 die crushing damage per point. time to cast. Now, time to cast is for Rain of Stone. It's not specified, so it's automatically one turn. And the fire spell, the fire cloud, time to cast is 1 to 5 seconds. Now I need to decide: does my spell take time, or is it like instantaneous? And I think this will go to my setting. I feel that in my setting, just placing your hand on the ground and mutter a few words and boom, it already go. It's maybe a little bit too cinematic for my game, so I'm gonna take the time to cast influence by. I will take influence by the fire cloud. So it will be 1, 2, 3 seconds to cast. 1 for each point of energy. So you will go to your knee, and for each turn you spend on the ground concentrating, it will do 1 die crushing damage. Yeah, depending on base cost. Okay, and that of course will be multiplied by the area you want to create your spell. So if I want a 10x area to cast it at 1 die crushing damage, it will cost 10 points. But if I want to cast the maximum amount of damage, 3 die of crushing damage on a 10 yard 10 radius, a monstrous area, it will cost 30 points of fatigue. That's enough to be a life-threatening situation for a mage, who will need to drop to 0 in his fatigue point, and then the remaining points that he need to spend to create that spell, he will have to take it off his HT. It's his hit points, and he will go into negative and will have to roll HT, probably not to die, but at least he will have to roll it to stay conscious and maybe not to die. So it's it's a pretty, but we would have to imagine that the mage doing this would have to need to be in a dire situation, a one shot or nothing kind of deal. The prerequisite for the stone screen, I have already a good idea of it. It will take a Magery 2 at least, not the beginning wizard or edge mage could do such a spell. It take practice and talent. And as opposed to Rain of Stones, I will not have the prerequisite to create earth. Of course, the spell will not work if you're surrounded by water or wood. So the spell will use something more close to the fire cloud spell, shape hair and fireball. So in this case, I will require my mage to be at least be able to shape earth, to make it move, to make it suitable for an explosion. And then something offensive like stone missiles or sand jet. Sand jet is more fine, it's more subtle, so not this one. Both have create hurt. Just a quick look. Alright, so it will be stone missile. Stone missile or sand jet. That's it, just to give more. So the spell is almost done. I could now add to the spell a because in GURPS you can use a spell and permanently cast it with a long ritual and make an object like an item who could do the stone screen. So I'm gonna formalize it. Probably in my setting it will be very rare as an item, but it could exist. It could exist. So so a piece of jewelry would do. Jewelry. A staff also. A staff would be a good idea. A stone tablet. Or a scroll, of course. A scroll would be kind of the ideal item in my setting. And usable only by mages, of course. Energy to energy cost to create. Now this one is tricky. I will have a look at the Rain of Stones. To create an object with the Rain of Stone, it's 500. So it's a lot of energy point. Create magic item with this system of magic is kind of complicated for the character, not for the player. You have kind of two routes. You can do the quick the quick and dirty route, trying to do a shortcut and taking a risk that it will blow up in your face, and you have the long and safe route. It takes months and months and years to create an item. So the Fire Cloud spell is also oh, it's quite different. It's 175 energy points and a $500 ruby. It's kind of cool. Give me an idea. I have in my setting a kind of a stone that is forbidden. The stone of, what's the name? Let's have a look at my lexicon. Cars. Yeah, that's it. The stone of cars are like a holy stone. Yeah, this spell will use the forbidden stone. People in Anoran, it's kind of a taboo to touch these stones of cars because they represent like the fallen skin of a god. So it's a symbol of a bygone age, and it's a sign of respect to not touch that type of rock. So the wizard would have to use a stone of cars, at least. That will make things interesting for anyone wanting to make an item. And it will cost, let's say, I'm gonna base it on stone missile, 400. So cost to create 400 and a stone of cars. And I'm done. I have a new spell for my game. And this took me a little bit. Not too. You must. Yeah, I felt pretty good about this. Maybe I could tweak it a little bit. Maybe change the crushing die for a die -1. Maybe if I want to make it. No, I'm gonna leave it at 1 die because the stone missile is 1 die +1. So I want my spell to be as near as the stone missile, but since it's an area effect, I don't want it to be too much powerful. So there you go, a new spell for GURPS. that's one way of doing it. You could very well just make up duration, cost, time to cast, prerequisite. You could create your own system of spells. This spell could have a prerequisite of Magery 0, or have a time to cast of instant. It all depends on your game. Once again, GURPS is a tool set. It's a toolkit, so you can do anything you want with it. So thanks for watching, and I hope 25 minutes to create a spell. Yeah, if you watched it all, yeah, kudos to you. See ya.